I firmly believe that everybody wants to do good, but they don't necessarily know how, or it hasn't been their priority.
World Childhood Foundation USA has contributed greatly to both the Economist Intelligence Unit Index and the Broadband Commission Report that was recently launched. Why are the reports important, and how do you think that especially the Broadband Commission can achieve the goal to stop child sexual abuse and exploitation?
It is hugely important to have a common framework to address this very universal challenge of child sexual abuse and exploitation, whether it's online or offline. And the Economist Intelligence Unit Index was really intended to spotlight on child sexual abuse and exploitation. We now have the new global goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, with one very specific target to end all forms of violence against children, which includes child sexual abuse and exploitation. But we don't have a tool to measure how we are doing. So developing an index that would help us to see how different countries, not just the governments, but even the private sector is doing in addressing child sexual abuse and exploitation was very important. When it comes to the Broadband Commission report, it is a very timely effort. We know that children are not very high on government's agenda or the private sector agenda. At the same time, we also know that at least 30% of all the internet users are children. We have only connected half of the world. In the next couple of years, we will be connecting most of the children in the world, and these children, they actually live in developing countries in Sub-Saharan Africa or Asia or parts of Latin America. Then we will have perhaps half of all the internet users being under the age of 18. So it's important when we bring them connectivity, which brings all the benefits to these children, that we also keep them safe online. And it was the first effort where actually the commissioners who represent the private sector, the governments, the regulators, all decided to prioritize child safety online.
What do you see as next steps for both the index and the Broadband Commission report?
Well, the expectations are high, but of course we'll have to evaluate what impact the index has had so far to better understand how to move forward. But I do hope that it is going to become one of those benchmarking tools, or the first ever benchmarking tool, to help assess how not just the governments but the private sector and civil society is doing in preventing child sexual abuse and exploitation offline and online. When it comes to the Broadband Commission report, which is probably more interesting to this particular audience, and the fact that more and more children are getting online, and we see a lot of crime against children online, I think the interesting part of the report is to really take up the recommendations of the report, how to change the digital world to make it safer for children. Those recommendations are very actionable. They require the regulators to take action, the companies to take action, but also the governments to take action, and everybody to take action. So I think that with the Broadband Commission report and its recommendation, and having that framework, is going to actually generate more of that collective action, so we actually can see the change. I mentioned in the beginning the Sustainable Development Goals. Ending all forms of violence, that particular target, we hope that we will be done by 2030. I'm not sure it's possible, but in order to at least reduce it significantly and prevent more violence, we need to act, and we need to act now. And I hope that both tools that are complementary can help to do that.